This is my first time ever messing with a transmission like this as a 6F50. This is not my first time doing work to this transmission, but first time ever experiencing this issue. So this is the driver's side where the CV axle goes in. I don't know the proper name for these bearings. I don't know what exactly these bearings do, but I would assume that this is a CV axle support bearing. On the inside there you can see that there's splines, which is where the CV axle itself goes into, and that would be the differential. But the CV axle that came out of this thing, the first CV axle that came out of it, was hard to pull out. The second CV axle that I put in went in perfectly fine, no binding or anything. So then I went to pull the CV axle out again because they were vibrating due to having engine mount issues and transmission mount issues, so it dropped everything down. Now I don't know, but I would say that it was probably hitting the frame. There's about 3 inches of clearance from the bottom of here to here, and then the CV axle itself hangs over this section about an inch. So it's very likely that it did come in contact with the frame, but the question is, that bearing doesn't move. Should it move? If it does move, why doesn't it move? And how do I get it to move again without having to take this transmission case apart? Because I can stick a screwdriver in there and touch each one of those rollers, and each roller moves, but that center section is the main issue. And I have measured from top and bottom inside the casing, and then top and bottom with the old CV axle inboard shaft put in. There is no snap ring on it because I broke it off after taking it out because I knew I might need to slide it in and out again. So when measuring with the CV axle in, these two clearances from the inside lip here, not the outside, to the outside end of that CV axle is about 1/8 of an inch of difference. And let's see, I don't know if anybody has these clearances or if anybody knows where to find these clearances, but I can measure it. It comes to about 1.25 inches on the top side, roughly, and 1.25 inches on the bottom side, or 3 centimeters. And then with the CV axle being in, that reading is different. See, it slides right in. It slid right in beforehand too. Just coming back out, it was a pain in the freaking butt. So that's 4 inches to the outside edge of this inboard shaft. And then this one is about a 4 1/8. Sorry, can't see that. 4 1/8. Maybe. If I can get it to stay on there long enough to be able to get a proper measurement. I've tried moving the end of the inboard shaft to be able to work that bearing around just a little bit. No luck. If it does come loose, it goes right back to the way that it was before, which is very aggravating because I've been fighting with this thing for a couple days now, and I really don't want to take it out. If I can manipulate that bearing, this bearing, just enough to be able to get it to start moving again. Right now it doesn't move at all. The inner casing doesn't move, the outer casing doesn't move, this ring in the center doesn't move. Oh, man, you can't see anything that I'm doing. Oh, cover the screen up. And see, I can move all of those bearings, every one of them move, except for maybe those. The casing moves. So that leads me to believe that the center section is what is bound up and not the outer part of the casing, which the outer part of the casing may still be bound up too, but I can't really see in there well enough. And as I said, I don't want to take the transmission out, so if anybody knows, please let me know.